Gordon, are Celtic a club in a crisis still, or are they a club exiting one?
Well, you're always a result away from a crisis at Celtic. You know, the baton's been handed over from Neil Lennon to Steven Gerrard. You know, the baton of criticism has been handed over during the night. Here you are, Steve, homeless for a few days. You can deal with that. I think I heard Mike Chris on the TV last night. Mike Chris, I love Chris, love him, great lad. I worked with him a couple of times. He's a good pundit. But he said, "Well, there's questions to be answered." Not really, not really. Yeah, but that's the way it starts. So the 26 games undefeated, and they get beaten a magnificent cup tie. That's the way it goes. There's just sometimes in football you cannot predict results, and there's no rhyme or reason why it should happen. But going back to the Celtic thing, Celtic are now feeling a wee bit better about themselves. That's for sure. The atmosphere at the clubs far different to what it was 2 weeks ago. I think if Hearts had played them 2 weeks ago, what an opportunity. But it's been made harder by the players digging themselves out a wee bit of trouble and then looking forward to this game.
Gary, it's an undeniable fact that Hearts are in the Championship, but are you a Championship class team?
Well, we are at the moment because that's where we are, and until we can win the league and get out the league, we obviously can't class ourselves as the infrastructure at the club. Of course, we're a Premier League team, no doubt about that, and obviously there's still a few raw feelings at the club regarding what happened last season. But you've got to take your medicine. We got relegated, we got demoted, as they say, down to the Championship. So we're in that now. All we can do is try and win the league we're in. We've had a good start to the season. I think we've made a couple of really good signings as well. And if you look at the squad, we've got a few full international players in it, so that tells you the quality within the squad. And if we turn up on the day, there's no doubt that we can get a win. I've no doubt about that. But as I say, we'll not know that until Sunday.
Gordon, I spoke to one of your old Scotland players, Stephen Naismith.
If we're going before that, listen, the Premier League is a lot poorer without Hearts. Absolutely. It's just like when Leeds United go back into the Premiership, it's become far better because Leeds United, in terms of being a big club, Hearts are a big club. And I know for a fact that managers, players, supporters all miss going to Tynecastle. And there should be a way in the future to make sure that these clubs never go out the league. And it's a bit radical, but it's worth it. If we want to improve our football, we cannot deal, Rangers being out for 4 years, Hibs being out, and Hearts being out. We cannot afford to have these clubs being out the top league. And it might be a bit of a monopoly, but I'll tell you what, football will be far better if these clubs can never be relegated. And the whole benefit of players, managers, atmospheres, sponsorship, TV rights will be better if we have all our top clubs back in the league. That was me on a rant. Carry on, David.
That was a very enjoyable and articulate rant, Mr. Strachan, and I think we all feel the better for that. Now, the only problem with what you said there is...
Anytime I meet football people, I have to get off my chest that.
And that's why you're the best in the business, Mr. Strachan.
I'll include you in the football people, David.
Thank you very much. I'm glad about that. Now, the whole situation with Hearts, of course, was led to by a vote, and it would require a vote to prevent relegation. So can you guarantee that they would vote the right way, given how badly they treated Hearts?
But to be fair, it's common sense. My thing is some sort of NFL stuff, where it's a
franchise system.
Yeah, and to do that, you'd have to break away and set something up. It's like there'll be Super Leagues, European Super Leagues. I've been saying that for 15 years. And I see no reason why we cannot use that. And could you imagine it if Hearts, Hibs were guaranteed derbies for 10 years? The sponsorship you get. Celtic, Rangers would love to go to Tynecastle for 10 years guaranteed. Dundee versus Dundee United, Aberdeen versus Dundee. You'll fill the stadiums. Yeah, and you'll generate more money. Yeah, what you do, you keep the players who are going from the Premier League into the Championship, right? They'll stay here at this level. All the good players that went to the Championship in England, then the European will get better in European games, right? Our coefficient will go up. players will want to come here. We can afford to pay players better wages. Sponsorship will go up because we want to fill the screens with atmosphere. You'll get that with Tynecastle and all these clubs I'm talking about. So it's common sense. And I speak behind the scenes, and so many people want to do it, but they're just scared to put their head up above the parapet at the moment.
To be fair as well, Dave, that's the one thing for me. I don't know why, and I don't know, Gordon might be able to tell you, but I can't understand for the life of me how the people that run our game don't have somebody like Gordon, Walter Smith, a Jim Jeffries type, just to speak to them. They've been there, seen it, done it in the game. They know what the game's crying out for, and it just doesn't make any sense to me that we've not got anybody like that who are basically giving maybe the SPFL, the SFA some advice on where we should go moving forward for Scottish football. Because, these guys have played at the top level, they've managed at the top level, they've been successful, they know what it takes to be successful. Why no get in about them and find out about their knowledge, all that type of stuff, and try and make that benefit the game moving forward? For me, it makes perfect sense to get, like, say, Walter, Gordon involved and let them try and put something moving forward that will benefit everybody. And I've always said
fancy a blazer, Gordon?
Sorry? Well,
would you fancy a blazer?
Just because I tried to sign him, that was all. That was it. We're still going back to that. No, there is. I think in anything, we can make a product if we're willing to be radical, and our product will then be able to sell. I think I could go into it, but David, you spoke to me many a times that we don't sell the right Scottish game around the world, and it's just a pity that we've no fans on Saturday. Can you imagine what the Hearts crowd, the Celtic crowd, we sell that, it fills the screen. That's what we want to be sending. We do not want to be sending some of the scenes we see around the world, some of the games we see around the world. And but we digress. As I said, it's a long conversation that. But I think, even going further than that, can you just think if Hearts know they're not going to get relegated, how they can promote their youngsters and stay with them and allow them to play, rather than a lot of clubs do go, I need to keep in this league, I need to get experienced players and I'll buy them for anywhere in the world, instead of going, right, a nucleus of Hearts players from that area. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And allowing them to breathe and get on with it, get beat, get up again and go again. I just think it's benefits all round, money-wise, player improvement, player performance. So, how did we get onto this, by the way, David? That must have been me.
It was brilliant. It wasn't my fault. I'm only nodding politely. This is great. This is good. I'm going to grab hold of this conversation again, take it back to the Cup final. Should Scott Brown start, Gordon?
Yes. And it's a huge decision because I still think he's a huge influence in the... and as I said, more so if I thought there was a crowd. But there's not a crowd, but I still would pick him. If I thought there was a big crowd there, I would pick him. Because anger's an energy, and he wants to win. But also, being an ex-Hibs player, Hearts are your nemesis. So you try your best there in the crowd. But I think, again, as a manager, as a player, and the player himself has to say that I'm an influence. And if the manager thinks he's still an influence on the pitch, then he plays. I think Gary played it in old days. I played it. The minute you feel you're not an influence, get out. I know for a fact Brownie still thinks he's an influence, and the players there still think he's an influence. And sometimes cup finals and playing against Hearts, because of the physical side as well, they can play with the physical, that you need somebody who knows how. Because some of the games are football games. Last couple of games are football games. This one will be stand toe-to-toe at times. I wouldn't advise that, because I think Hearts can deal with toe-to-toe. I think you have to move the ball about quickly and move them about. But I see no reason why Scott shouldn't be playing, that's for sure. But Lenny's got... If you said to Lenny 3 weeks ago, pick a team for Hearts, he'd go, oh, Jesus. Because he'd be picking from players who didn't feel that great about themselves. I think we're picking it this week he's probably got 14 or 15 who are feeling quite good about themselves. The ones that have played, but the ones who've had a rest going, right, I'm ready for this now. But I think if you asked him 2 weeks ago, I think he'd have 7 players and picking 4 positions from a negative stance. People who had a lot of negativity in their game and mind.
Gary, who will be the best goalkeeper on the pitch at Hampden Park?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. You know, Craig Gordon's an absolutely fantastic goalie, and you know the fact that we got him in the summer was the best piece of business that we've done for a long time. I was very surprised. You know, obviously being a Hearts man, you know, I was surprised that Celtic decided to let Craig go. But you know, for us, you know, he won us the semi-final with the save. I think it's from Nisbet's header, unbelievable save. And you know, some of the saves that he's made, Gordon will tell you, he had a save, I think, in the Dundee game at the start of the season, which was world class. So that's probably been our
I don't know,
downfall
Gary.
over the last couple of
My eyes
seasons.
shut for 90 minutes that night. I couldn't see that. My eyes were shut for 90 minutes. I couldn't have told you about that.
But no, he's world class.
Gary's right. Gary's right.
No, he's a world class goalie.
Yeah. He's got the temperament as well. And I think when the Hearts players are in the tunnel on Saturday, the secret is getting good people and good players around you. And I think when they turn around and see the captain and the guys in front look forward and they see Craig Gordon, they'll think, I'm glad you're here with me. Seriously. It's nothing better than looking around and seeing a presence like that. I was the same as a Scotland manager. When I had him in the team, you go, yes. And you got to remember that he come back from being gone, literally gone.
Yep.
And that's why his enthusiasm now is still, because he missed about a couple of years. And I've always said to players, if you miss a couple of years, I'll tell you what you do, add it on when you think you're finished. So it's just like having a break. So that's what Craig Gordon's done. And there's so many good goalkeepers at that age. Buffon and people like that, and they've played forever. I had a boy called Steve Agrusovic at Coventry, 40, magnificent. So, yeah, I think, again, as I said to you, when you have signings as a manager, it's good people, and they can make or break you as a manager, your signings, and so far, fantastic.
Gordon Neil has picked 3 goalkeepers in the last month, so there's a lot of flux in that position. Who does he go for the final? What does he consider?
Hey, he's got to look at how everybody is, look at the training, see who's confident, see who works well with the back 4 that he's got to pick, because we don't really know what goes on. And has the big fella, I'll tell you what, he's not really made any great saves so far. I might be wrong, I might have missed something in the... No, he's not. Even the Lille game. But everything he's done, the stuff that people take for granted, he's been brilliant. Jim Leighton was like that. I look back now and look at Jim Leighton and think, yeah, he made saves, but all that tidy stuff, when the ball's bouncing in front of you, getting it, being in the right position, he's done all that. And I watched him last week, in the last minute, I was fortunate to be at the game, and I was at an area, the 18-yard box at Celtic Park, and it was 2-0, and Shane Duffy wanted the ball rolled to him, and he was in the 18-yard box with 2 minutes to go, and Shane kept saying, give me the ball, and he looked about, assessed, maybe no, and Shane still shaking his head, I want the ball. Then he's looked at the clock and went, no, I want a clean sheet. So what he's shown at that point, he wasn't getting intimidated by the defenders around him. I can deal with this. I'll assess it, and I'll tell you when I'm going to throw the ball to you. So he booted up the pitch, and the game went down there, and it finished, no goals against. So he has his own way about him, so there's a quiet confidence about him. And we had him at Dundee last year for 6 games. And I think that was it. Christophe Berra was playing as well. Talk about good people being in there, heading the ball. Between the two of them, we had a clean sheet, 6 clean sheets. Now, there you go with good people who want to defend. 6 clean sheets with a Hearts player and a Celtic player. And by the way, this is how crazy it is. They'll be playing against each other on Saturday. How wonderful is football? Playing away at air somewhere, and that kind of stuff in Alloa, and you end up in a cup final against each other. Football tells wonderful stories.
And of course, this game was scheduled when they were both at Dundee, so they've had a real lucky break there. Well, Christoph Berra and Craig Gordon, we've spoken about them, Gary. But what about the spine of that whole Hearts team? Does that give you real confidence now that Hearts have got experience and ability where it matters?
Yeah, I think it does. I think, anybody will say to you, the spine of your team in football is very, very important. And we having, Big Halkett and Michael Smith, for me, deserves a special mention. Right back, but very, very consistent. 7, 8 out of 10 every week. Stephen Kingsley come in and done fantastic at left back, but we've got, I don't know who Robbie will pick in the midfield on Sunday. He's got a big decision to make there because Peter Haring's back, and obviously Halliday's in there. Andy Irvin's been outstanding the last couple of games, a really talented young player. And then we've also got Boyce and Naismith who can play up front. So when you look at the spine of the team, it's very strong. And, Robbie's got a lot of big decisions to make.